Welcome to the Deep Dive. You hand us the sources, and we deliver the knowledge, cutting through the noise to extract exactly what you need to know. Today, we are taking a bit of an unexpected detour right into the darkest corners of the plains, specifically the macabre, the creepy, and, the genuinely haunted sites of North Dakota.
That's right. It kind of challenges that whole Peace Garden state image, doesn't it? When you think of North Dakota, you probably picture, quiet towns, rolling fields.
Exactly, Serene.
But our sources, they pull back that curtain. And what's revealed is this startlingly rich history. We're talking suffering, institutional failure, frontier violence, stuff that's deep imprints, visible ones.
Okay, so we've synthesized a list from the sources. It looks like 11 key sites, and they're sort of categorized, right, by the source of the terror.
Yeah, pretty much. Whether it's a big historical tragedy, wartime loss, or just sheer institutional neglect, our mission here really is to look at that serene reputation and challenge it a bit by pulling out the historical context that makes these stories, these chilling stories, so sticky.
And what strikes me right away is the variety. It's not just old houses.
Not at all. That's what's so interesting. We've got abandoned hospitals, sure, but also college dorms at NDSU, historic military posts, libraries.
And an ice cream shop, seriously.
Yeah, even an ice cream shop. Delightfully weird, right? It really suggests that tragedy, especially when it's amplified by, say, isolation, it can root itself just about anywhere.
Okay, let's dive in. Where should we start? Maybe the big ones. Places with large-scale suffering.
Sounds good. And the clearest, maybe the grimmest example has to be the San Haven Sanatorium near Dunseith.
San Haven, right.
It embodies that kind of historical horror. Opened in 1912, primarily for tuberculosis treatment, but later it also functioned as an asylum.
Double dose of grim history there.
Absolutely. And by the time it finally closed, which was 1989, the sources confirm over 1,000 patients had died within its walls. 1,000.
Wow. Just think about that. The isolation, the disease.
Creates a really potent energy, you'd imagine, and the reports reflect that.
Yeah, the paranormal activity reported, it's classic institutional trauma stuff, isn't it? Crying babies, shadowy figures, ghostly apparitions just wandering these huge empty halls.
But here's where it gets deeper, historically speaking. Its infamy isn't just old history. The sources point out its reputation was tragically cemented again much more recently. In 2001.
Oh, right, when the teenager died there.
While exploring.
Exactly. That recent sudden death, it just layers fresh trauma right onto all that historical suffering. It makes the place feel, almost eternally cursed.
So if San Haven is about that collective decay, that long history, what about St. Joseph's Hospital in Dickinson? That's the one they now use as a Halloween attraction, which is ironic.
It's deeply ironic. Yeah, St. Joseph's is different. It's defined by very specific, almost function-related hauntings.
I found the details from former staff really visceral. The elevators moving by themselves.
And specifically, the one that runs straight down to the morgue.
Right, that focus on the final destination. It's crucial. Staff reported seeing the actual morgue doors swinging wide open, on their own, even though apparently you need a key or you have to push them open from the inside.
That's specific. And creepy. What else?
Phantom footsteps. Racing through the basement. Always heading towards that same morgue area.
It sounds less like, just an echo of the past, less residual, more like something active, unresolved terror.
Like that ghost on the third floor.
Yeah. The patient who keeps pressing the nurse's call button, even when the room's empty, it feels like an unfinished task. Or maybe a final call for help that never got answered.
That's a perfect transition, actually, because we can shift from that kind of collective institutional suffering to locations marked by, let's say, singular, sharp acts of violence, often hidden in plain sight, in public buildings.
Like a library. The Harvey Public Library seems like such an unlikely spot.
Exactly, mundane on the surface. But it sits directly on the site of a really brutal murder from 1931. A woman named Sophia Eberline Bentz, bludgeoned to death by her husband, Jacob Bentz.
Grim stuff. But the haunting didn't start right away.
No, and that's what's fascinating. The weird activity lights flickering, things disappearing and reappearing. It didn't kick off back in 31. It started when the library staff moved into the new building they built on that site. And get this, it started precisely on the anniversary of Sophia's funeral.
Wow. Like the building itself acted as a trigger.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
As if it housed the tragedy, energetically speaking. And Sophia's ghost reportedly haunts the library director's office.
Which is right where the murder happened.
The exact spot, yeah. And beyond the usual stuff, lights and objects, There was one really weird incident. An employee reported seeing a computer screen suddenly display this huge, mysterious capital S
Right.
in a font that didn't even exist on the system.
Okay, that's strangely spilly, almost like an attempt at communication. A very modern, haunting detail.
It is odd, isn't it? And we see similar kinds of imprints, violent or sudden emotional distress on university campuses too, like at North Dakota State University, NDSU, and Fargo.
Right, Ceres Hall. Used to be a women's dorm.
That's the one. Reportedly haunted by 2 suicides. A man hanged himself from a heating pipe during World War II, and also a female student, though details are sketchier on that one.
And the reports there. Slamming doors, phantom whispers. Standard stuff, maybe?
Some standard stuff, yeah. But everyone singles out the basement. People who go down there consistently report this overwhelming feeling, intense panic, unease, like a really powerful, immediate fight or flight response.
Why the basement, do you think? Why is that feeling so strong down there?
Well, with sudden self-inflicted deaths, the emotional energy it's immediate, catastrophic even. And when that happens in a confined, maybe low-traffic area like a basement, that energy might not dissipate easily. It sort of coalesces, maybe. It becomes almost a psychological haunting. The feeling itself is so strong it terrifies the living.
Like a pocket of intense emotion left behind. And still at NDSU, there's Menard Hall, too, right? The uneasy vibe there is tied to a rumor.
Yeah, a chilling one. That the attic, which was apparently once a dance floor, was the site of an unsolved double homicide back in the 1920s. Story goes, a janitor found 2 bodies. The room was immediately sealed off. Never solved.
Wow. That really feeds into that sort of small-town paranoia, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The fear of hidden violence, unpunished acts lurking just above your head.
Exactly. Which brings us nicely to another category in the sources. The ghosts of prominent historical figures. People tied right into North Dakota's frontier story who just refused to leave.
Okay, like at Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park. In Mandan, that's the oldest state park, right? Established 1907.
It is. And the focus is often on the Custer House. Now, it's a reconstruction, but the energy seems potent. General Custer's wife, Libby Custer, is the most frequently cited ghost there.
Libby. And she's seen in mourning clothes.
Typically, yes. A black mourning dress, which is, a powerful symbol of her real-life tragedy. After Little Bighorn in 76, she's seen slamming doors, staring out the second-story window. It's a haunting defined by grief. Inconsolable grief.
You have to imagine the shock of that news for her.
Immense. And remember, it wasn't just Custer who died. It was so many men under his command. So you also get reports of General Custer himself and ghostly soldiers in blue uniforms, roaming the grounds, phantom footsteps, crying sounds. It's almost like preserving and rebuilding the site reawakened them.
Makes sense. Then there's the former governor's mansion in Bismarck. Governor Frank Briggs died there in 1898.
That's him. And the activity seems centered on the master bedroom. Visitors hear footsteps, doors opening on their own.
And a voice warning people away from the attic.
Yeah, a distinct ghostly voice telling people not to go into the attic. That specificity is fascinating. Does it tie into anything? No? Like, was something hidden up there? Did something happen?
Not directly that the sources mention, no. But it definitely fuels the local stories, like that old rumor that his daughter, Estella...
The one who died of tuberculosis.
Right. The rumor was she was buried in the basement, which the sources confirm isn't true. She's buried elsewhere. Minnesota, I think. But the rumor sticks around. Because local tragedy always seems to need a local home, right?
It really does. And speaking of final resting places, we can't skip Riverside Cemetery in Fargo. Established 1879, oldest and largest in the state, and pretty much universally called North Dakota's most haunted graveyard.
And the details there are really eerie. All auditory, it sounds like. People report distinct knocking and kicking sounds coming from inside the mausoleums.
Both the old ones from the 1920s and newer ones from the 70s.
Yeah, plus voices and the sorrowful crying, especially around sunset.
It sort of transforms the cemetery, doesn't it? From a place of rest into somewhere suggesting permanent, confined distress, trapped.
Very much so. Okay, so to round things out, let's look at locations defined either by profound isolation or maybe just by being totally unexpected.
Isolation definitely feels like a theme here, like in the ghost towns. Exactly. Places like Ambrose and Alcabo, the sources suggest these aren't haunted by specific ghosts per se.
Yeah.
The energy is more environmental, woven into the place itself.
Just decaying buildings stuck in time.
Right, creating this pervasive, unsettling feeling, isolation, mystery. The abandonment is the haunting in a way.
Okay, so contrast that with Medora.
Yeah.
Which has specific but very different haunts.
Right. Medora is interesting. You've got the Chateau de Mores, elegant place, built 1883, haunted by Chateau de Mores herself. Spectral woman, white dress, causing cold spots.
But her haunting seems quite domestic, personal. People finding an impression on her side of the bed, like someone just got up, and her antique silver brush set gets rearranged sometimes.
It suggests a ghost still kind of concerned with her routine, her comfort, very specific, which then leads us to, possibly, the most delightfully bizarre entry on the entire list.
The Medora Fudge and Ice Cream Depot has to be.
It really does. I mean, the absolute last place you'd expect a ghost.
Unless they died craving fudge. I don't know. So the deal there is cold spots and weird noises happen year-round, little things. But the actual ghost, a woman, only appears once a year.
On her birthday.
On her birthday. It's like the ultimate personalized haunting schedule.
It really is something. So this whole deep dive, it's shown us North Dakota's chilling stories are just woven into its history, whether it's big institutional suffering from disease or sharp violence from murder or the deep tragedy of, war and abandonment and isolation.
Yeah.
That seems to be a real amplifier for trauma there.
Definitely. And to end, there's one anecdote that just perfectly captures the state's, well, surprisingly accommodating relationship with its ghosts. We have to talk about the Liberty Memorial Building in Bismarck.
Ah, yes. The stack monster. Infamous case. A male apparition apparently haunted the library stacks in that building for years. Unexplained footsteps, voices calling out names, shadowy figures, the work.
Really persistent activity. Until the State Historical Society moved out in 1981.
And the departure itself was something else.
Right. An employee claimed they actually saw the main door open and close by itself in 81. As if the stack monster was literally leaving the building for good when they did.
And then, the best part, in this wonderful, slightly wry, almost respectful gesture, the State Historical Society issued a special security badge for the stack monster at the new State Museum, just in case.
Just in case the entity ever decided to come back to visit his old haunts, maybe a ghost with official state ID, that's certainly a new one.
It really is.
So it leaves us, and leaves you, with a final thought to mull over, doesn't it? All these places, they're tied together by unresolved history, sudden death, unsolved violence, abandonment. Does the ghost story just serve to keep that specific tragic history alive for us? Kind of folkloric memory?
Or
Does the sheer intensity of an event actually imprint on a place, leaving a real spectral residue that we, the living, then stumble into? What other untold stories might still be lingering out there in the quiet, isolated corners of North Dakota, just waiting?